me try to sell you on something, all right? Because I know you love Nick Bosa, and that's fair. I love Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is a great player. Nick Bosa is a top 5 defensive end in the NFL. Should the 49ers trade him anyway? Nick Bosa, definitely a top 5 defensive end in the NFL. He gave the Niners 15 and a half sacks last year. He was a machine. It was like one a game at a certain point.
I think he was second in the league in tackles for losses.
He's really good against the run. He racks up pressure. He gets sacks. He's really, when he's on the field, there's really nothing you can say. My only question is, how much is a top 5 defensive end really worth? Like Joey Bosa doing the same thing for the Chargers. That team never goes to the playoffs. You'd think someone that dominant at that important of a position would be able to get the team to the freaking playoffs. But no, I want to come back to what I was talking about earlier. I really feel like the importance of trench play is going down. Like, for example, a big part of Bosa's value is run defense. Who cares? Okay, that's part of it. Then the other part is like just the sacks. Sacks are great. Sacks are great. It's great to have a top 5 DN. But like 15 and a half sacks, that one sack a game, is that winning you the game? No, it's important. But it's not necessarily winning you the game as opposed to like Deebo's 30-yard touchdown run. That's like a pick 6. That's like a turnover. That's a huge deal. I just feel like if the price for a defensive end is going up to $30 million a year and trench play is becoming less and less important and run defense is becoming less and less important, and you can scheme up pass rush with blitzes and stunts and games, and also you have waves of pass rushers. I mean, you can have reserves, and the Niners do. A couple of years ago, they had freaking Solomon Thomas on their team, but now they've actually added a bunch of decent players. Charles Omenihu's good. Samson Ebukam's decent. Anyway, if you could trade Deebo for a couple of ones. You could trade Bosa for a couple of ones. As the person at the beginning of the thing said, you could trade him probably for a top 5 pick, and get someone who doesn't have 2 torn ACLs in their past. I'm looking at your face and you don't seem sold, but I tried. It's the best I could do. What do you think of my effort?
I think when you have one of the top edge rushers, I think you got to keep him until he proves he's not a top edge rusher. I think you go.
You know who disagrees with you? Sorry, I shouldn't cut you off. But Bill Belichick, he traded Chandler Jones.
He did.
He did.
Probably also has the greatest quarterback of all time on his team. But at the time,
right? But I mean, you can help a quarterback with a pass rusher or with weapons, and I'm saying weapons help more.
Yeah, I think. I think you still need. I think if you look back at the Super Bowl winners, they've all had good edge rushers. I
think you need a good edge rusher. I agree. You need a good edge rusher.
I think you look back at how many Super Bowls has Bill won after he traded Chandler Jones. I mean,
couple.
I think I wouldn't want to go that route. I mean, there's for every time that he has done that, he's had edge rushers on his. He's had some edge rushers on his team. Yeah, he traded Chandler Jones, and then he also traded his interior guy Richard Seymour. But he did get premium years after that, didn't he? They paid Richard Seymour his first contract. I think they traded him his second. The Patriots.
Yes.
My personal feeling with both these guys is I think you pay them now, and if you're looking to trade any of them, you do it after they're on their next contract. Because you have the quarterback on the rookie deal.
Let me try. Give me 30. Give me 30 more seconds to sell this on you. I have one more argument to make. Okay, Bosa's great, right? And him on a rookie deal is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Top 5 edge rusher. You're paying him $7-8 million a year. Wonderful. Okay, but when you give him this, eventually you're going to be giving him, $30 million a year. Not for a couple of years, but eventually you will. And that's going to come. And there's going to come a time where he's making roughly $30 million a year and Armstead's making roughly 20. And my question is it worth it to have that top 5 defensive end and pay him market value? Because can you create a top 5 pass rush while paying that much money to 2 players? Because the goal is to have a top 5 pass rush, not a top 5 D end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, is it cost prohibitive to have 2 guys? And I guess Armstead, maybe you could get rid of Armstead, and that's not part of the equation. But look, we're going to talk about Trent Williams next, and I'm going to kind of bring up the same logic there. Do you want to have an elite edge rusher or an elite pass rush? And can you really have both if Bosa costs that much.
Yeah, didn't the Rams do it last year?
I don't think Aaron Donald costs $30 million a year.
I mean, but I think it's relative to the year. But I know that the Rams also had like and didn't they have like an $18 million cap hit on their from Goff? So I mean, I guess if you want to chalk that to the quarterback, but they were definitely limited in their cap and had Ramsey, Stafford, and Donald.
His cap number last year was 14. I'm just saying Aaron Donald. 14. I'm just saying it was 14. I don't know how they maneuvered that, but maybe the Niners can do something like that with Bosa. But at certain, I'm just saying, it's like that. It's like that game where they on Twitter they're like, assemble this basketball team and you get this is a 5-point range, the 4-point range. You need to like get 15 points. So if you take someone from that 5-point range, you're going to be getting a lot of 1s and 2s, man. That's what I'm saying. This is a 5. Bosa's a 5, and he's very expensive. Do you need that 5, or could you go for a 4?
I would look to move Armstead and keep Bosa, but I do think if you were going to do this, and I think the type of trade that was proposed would be the one that you'd want to do it, is get like a top 4 pick and get another elite pass rusher, and then get him on a rookie deal and keep going. Because I do think you need top level pass rush if you're trying to be an elite team. I don't think you can put like average dude out there, and I think you need elite guys. But so I think if you're gonna do it, like this would be a great year to do it. Get the Jets to have the number 4 overall pick, and then take Thibodeau and roll with it that way.
Yeah, I always have believed that the league is trending towards coverage over pass rush. That article, that video seems to confirm it, but it's just one study, and it's just one guy's study. Maybe it's not. Maybe the evidence will change this year. But interesting to me that that seems to be the trend. So I guess we'll see. Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, those guys are going to be super rich. Freddie McDre says, "What is the max for Deebo you would sign? What is he worth in a trade if demands too much?"
I mean, the thing about it is like next year, this whatever you sign him for. I mean, unless it's something like absurd, like $40 million, it's gonna look next year when the cap goes up. It's gonna like, wow, we got a good deal on Deebo. I think 25-ish around there is fair. 20, around that, and I think that's probably what he's gonna get. But I do think he should try to squeeze every dollar out of the 49ers, because that's what I would do.
I think he's worth 30. I think he's worth top of the market. And the Niners keep saying he hasn't done it. He's only done it for 1 year. I disagree with that. He was elite his rookie year too. The issue was usage. He's not like defense where you just rush the quarterback. They didn't give him the ball enough until the second half of the year. They didn't figure out he could play running back. I mean, he was great in the playoffs. He was much better than Kittle in the playoffs. He was really good as a rookie. And he missed his second year. So did Bosa. So did freaking Bosa. So the fact that Deebo's numbers weren't better his rookie year, that's really on Kyle. It's not like he wasn't good. That's the way I look at it. So I feel like the Niners are kind of being disingenuous on that one. I think he is proven just as much as Bosa is.
That's fair. If they give if they were to come out and give Bosa the bag, and really reset the market with Bosa, and then they tried to pull the argument with Deebo about his injury, there would be something.
If you were agent, you'd be pissed, right?
Right. I were the Niners, I would take the same approach with both players, because I feel like there's that argument with both players. But I do think if you reset the market with one, I think you got to reset the market with the other, because you can't use that same argument because they both have some injury history.
No doubt. It's really an interesting question in my mind, and I wonder how deeply the Niners are discussing this, or if they're just Bosa. Because it seems like, it seems like they're much more ready to pay Bosa than Deebo. And I think it should be something that they at least talk about.
Yeah, it's gonna. You're right. It's gonna be super interesting to see what both of those players' deals are, and they should be conscious about it because both those guys, I think they're in the same draft class and they should get paid around the same time. So I'm sure they're looking at each other's deals.